Hello friends. So, in today's discussion of this particular course on the research methods, we will take a look into a different type of technique to record the different aspect of the behavior of the respondent. Okay, I think you will all agree with this particular statement that man project some part of themselves into everything they do. Okay. So, whether it is daily behavior, whether it is any creative work like the letter we write, the nowadays maybe it is the SMS or the WhatsApp chat we write, okay, the words we used in that particular chats. Okay. So, whatever we do, whether it is our daily behavior, whether it is any creative work, okay. So, some part of ourselves generally reflected in those particular work. Okay. So, in this way values, our ethics, attitude, need, wishes. Okay. So, all of these are projected upon certain object and behavior which outside individual. Okay. So, this particular aspect can also be used for research purpose on the behavior or the behavioral aspect of an individual. Okay. So, it is assumed that, so till now the most of the technique we are talking about, okay, so those are basically highly objective or direct method. Objective means there is that if you design a scale which is well tested for the reliability, validity, and which is also provided with the good set of the instruction. Okay. So, that generally resulted in the high or the very low inter-observer variances, means there will be high agreement, okay, whether I use that particular scale, whether you use that particular scale for measuring some respondent behavior, we will come up with the same numbers or same numerals. Okay. Secondly, those methods are direct, like if I want to know about my attitude towards or the researcher attitude towards the open access, okay, so I can directly put him the different or the questions which address the different aspect of the open access. Okay, maybe it is related to the ethics, maybe I am publishing in the open access because I needed high impact factor publication for my performance appraisal. Okay, so all these things can be, okay, directly this question can be directly put before the respondent and we can register their response. Okay, until or unless, okay, the question I am asking, okay, either it is too personal in nature and that is why the respondent do not want to answer it, or maybe they are unwilling to answer it, okay, or maybe, okay, there are certain aspect of the behavior which I may be unaware of. Okay. So, maybe because of the way I was brought up during the childhood. Okay. So there may be certain trauma, okay, but that remain in the depressed stage because of the education I get, because of the environment I operate. Okay. But in the stress situation, okay, they may come out, but in the normal situation prone to may not be that may not wish to talk about those things, okay, those particular aspect of the behavior, okay, or maybe I am totally unaware of that particular behavior. Okay. So, in this situation, okay, so as I told that most of the method for measuring the response of the respondent, they are either objective, they are highly objective and the highly direct also. Okay. So, but the method can be designed based on these particular aspect that generally, okay, sometimes we reflect ourselves in our daily behavior of the activity, okay, and secondly, the more the ambiguous stimuli is presented before a individual, okay, so there is a more chance for the type or variety of the response. Okay. So, the test and scale we are talking about, they are generally comprised of the direct question or direct statement where the response choices are the very limited. Okay. Like if it is a rating scale, there is only 5 or 6 response choice. Okay. If it is a ranking scale, okay, say you only need to rank those attributes provided to you. Okay. Means if there is 5 attributes, you can provide only arrange them in this particular order of your preferences. Okay. So, now if the stimulus is not direct, comprised of the direct question, instead of it may be just assume it is an picture. Okay. So, it picture about the activity of the people. Okay. So, now if I provide it to you to reconstruct that or to find out or to think that what is happening. Okay. So, every person there is a chance based on his mental makeup, okay, he may constitute or he may develop a different story. Okay. Now, understanding or reading this particular story or analyzing those particular story, okay, you can actually arrive at the psychological position of that particular person. Okay. So, this is the background of the projective techniques. Okay. So, projective techniques is based on the phenomena of projection. So, what is projection? I already told, that is in the process of the answering to the mostly ambiguous stimuli. Okay. So, we used to project our inner thought into the overt behavior or how we deal with the object. Okay. And the more the unstructured the stimuli is, okay, so the more the revelation will happen. Okay. So, and in the process of the answering this unstructured stimuli, mostly the unconsciously a particular respondent they project their own desire, hope, fears, okay, repressed wish, etc. Okay. So, this is in toto the projective technique is, means the respondent are generally supplied with maybe an incomplete picture, maybe a group of the incomplete sentences, okay, maybe a group of the incomplete symbols which may not be similar to any of the known object. Okay. And they actually, and we generally ask them to reflect on this particular symbol, picture, sentence, incomplete sentences. Okay. And in this process they generally express their inner feelings, their inner wishes, like that. Okay. So, Lindsay, okay, he classified all these projective techniques into a number of or in the 5 broader categories. Okay. So, what are those categories? Okay. The first type of technique is the association technique. Okay. So, what association technique is telling, that as a part of the projective technique, you can provide the respondent with a set of words, okay, and or words are maybe, okay, or a set of stimuli, okay, and what the respondent need to do, they instantly or promptly need to respond with the similar words or similar thinking, okay, what or similar thoughts, okay, what he can find out or what comes into his mind at first. Okay. So, one of the example is the word association test. Okay. Like I may be given word like beautiful. Okay. So, now I ask the respondent what a beautiful means to you. Okay. So, it may be depending on his own perception. It may be, okay, like an beautiful means it is an sea resort. Okay. Beautiful means it is the mountain. Okay. So, that means, okay, for some people the sea resort is the beautiful, for some people it is the mountainous picture, okay, that is the most beautiful, for some people it is maybe the garden of flowers. Okay. So, that is more beautiful. Okay. So, in this way we generally express our inner feelings. Okay. So, one of the most known type of this word association technique is the Rorschach-Ingold test. Okay. So, after this particular classification, we will talk about, we will have a little bit discussion on this particular Rorschach-Ingold test also. The second type of projective technique is that is the construction test. Okay. So, in case of the construction type of the projective technique, so the subject is required to produce something. Okay. They are generally provided with a stimulus. Okay. So, stimulus may be in terms of the picture, the stimulus may be in terms of description. Okay. So, now after getting that particular stimulus, okay, so the respondent need to construct some product out of this particular stimulus. One of the most known example is the thematic perception test. Okay, where generally a sequence of the cards, picturesque cards are provided to the respondent, and they are asked to develop story about what is happening or what will happen, what will be outcome, like that. Okay. Another example of the achievement motivation test, okay, that is mostly used for to know the entrepreneurial capability or entrepreneurial prospect of a particular person. Okay. So, that is also falls under this construction type of the projective technique. Okay. So, another type of the projective technique is the completion technique. Okay. So, in case of the completion technique, again the respondent is generally supplied with a number of the incomplete stimulus, okay, which the subject only need to complete. Okay. So, based on this, what what particular word or what particular phrase he is using to complete that particular sentence. Okay. So, again you can find out the inner state of the particular or inner behavioral state of a particular individual who is being measured. Okay. So, one of the example is the sentence completion test. Okay. One of the most used type is the story completion test. Okay. So, that all falls under this completion type of the projective technique. Okay. What is the next type? That is the choice or ordering method. Okay. So, here the respondent need not to construct anything, to choose from among the stimulus. Okay. He need to order them in terms of their importance to them. Okay. So, that basically reveals his attitude or the behavioral pattern. Okay. What's come first for you? Okay. So, now the last type of the projective technique is the expressive technique. Okay. So, expressive technique, okay, is similar to the construction type of the projective technique. Okay. Here also the subject need to construct some sort of the product for the stimulus which is being provided. Okay. But in case of the construction type of technique, the entire emphasis is on the product he developed. Okay. But in case of the expressive technique, the entire emphasis on the how he developing that particular product. Okay. So, one of the example is the role playing. Okay. Or it is one of the most common used method is the fingerprinting technique. Okay. So, how the role is being played. Okay. So, that basically reveal the inner psychological structure of that particular person. So, these are the in total in broadly the 5 categories of the projective technique which are being used in the socio-psychological research. Okay. So, projective test means the test taker are generally asked to report the what stimuli that represent or complete that particular stimuli is being presented. Okay. And it is totally open ended and there is possibility of wide variety of the response. Okay. So, it is open ended. So, as I already told, okay, so there are two mostly used type of the most popular type of the projective technique is there. One is known as the Rorschach-Ingold test, another is the thematic apperception test. Okay. So, Rorschach-Ingold test, it is basically an association type of the projective technique, whereas the thematic apperception test, it is the construction type of the projective technique. Okay. So, what Rorschach-Ingold test is? Okay. So, Rorschach-Ingold test is basically a test for simulating as well as testing the imagination. Okay. And in this process, it generally study the unconscious factor in perception and meaning. Okay. So, ultimately it is geared towards the study the dynamic factor in the personality or behavior. Okay. And in more precisely, it study the conscious intellectual activity, externalized emotion and the internalized emotion of a particular person. And how it is being done? Okay. So, they are provided with the set of picture. Okay. And these pictures apparently, okay, they are just you cannot equate anything you know, okay, directly with those particular picture. Okay. These are basically totally ambiguous picture which are provided with the respondent. Okay. So, now this picture can be drawn by using just a thread and a ink. Okay, ink pot means you can put the thread within the ink pot. Okay, then you can put it in between the 2 pages of your copy. Okay, and just then press it. Okay, so you will come up with an ink bolt. Okay, and from what this name basically become popular. These ink bolts are generally presented before the respondent and they are generally asked the simple question that what it's look like. Okay. Now, based on they need to equate it with the known object or known beings, okay, organism they think it looks like. Okay. So, like a particular person, okay. So, the picture in the right hand side in the second row, it may looks like it may be looking like a bat. Okay. So, then or in the third picture of this first column, okay, it may look like a dragon. Okay. Or for someone it may be a crocodile with the which have wing. Okay. So, now so based on the response pattern, okay, so the respondent are generally scored on the 4 categories or using the 4 criteria. What are the criteria? That is the location, means which part of the ink bolt the respondent perceive for the basis of their response. Okay. What is and second criteria is the determinants. Determinants means the characteristics of the ink bolt which has been perceived. Okay. Like if I was giving the example of this particular the third picture in the left row. Okay. So, maybe I am based on the looking in the mouth structure, I may perceive it look like an crocodile, or maybe looking into the wing structure, it may look like it is an dragon. Okay. So, that is the determinants part. Third one is the content. Content means the common group in which the subject response are classified. Okay. Whether it is an animal, it is an object, or maybe what type of animal I am talking about, like flying animal, or maybe the land animal, like that. Okay. So, these are the third criteria against which the respondent or the response is rated with, and the fourth one is the originality popularity. Okay. Or what is originality popularity? Means the responses are classified into two groups, that is, one is which is commonly given by the most of the respondent, second one is the original. Okay. So, this first one we call the popular, and second one is the uncommon answer, okay, or an uncommon response. It is classified as the original, and the rating is being done on the whether it is it can be put under the original group, or it can be put into the popular group. Okay. These four criteria was used by the Rorschach, okay, to draw conclusion or to draw inferences about the ink bolt he presented in his ink bolt test. Now, the next group of the projective technique is the thematic apperception test. Okay. This Rorschach ink bolt test was comprised of the unambiguous picture. Okay. So, in case of the thematic apperception test, okay, the 30 pictures card and one blank card, okay, is generally provided to the respondent. Okay. So, there are picture printed on these particular cards, mostly the picture of the activities, okay, where a number of actors may be involved. Okay. And these cards can be presented on various combination to the respondent. Okay. And like the Rorschach ink bolt test, it is also a test of imagination, and here the respondents were asked to make story based on the pictures which are there in the cards, okay, or combination of the pictures in which they are presented about themselves. Okay. And what are the questions generally asked to the respondent? That they asked to respond like what they think, that what led up to this particular scene, okay, or from where this particular situation came about. Okay. Second is that what is happening particularly, what are the feeling of the character which are being represented in that particular picture card, and last one that what will be the outcome of this particular stories or the series of the pictures which generally provided activities with. Okay. So, based on again this particular answer to this particular question, okay, they are using different techniques, okay, like in the case of the, like, you can use the content analysis. Okay, we will come to in some future lecture, we will also talk about the content analysis, means the studying a particular maybe letter, okay, letter written by a particular person, okay, for the cue to his behavioral pattern of the personality pattern. Okay. Like you can look into the speeches of our prime minister, okay, for cue to the economic or the policy of the government. Okay. So, these things, okay, so that can also be used to study the find out the content of the personality of a particular person. Okay. So, Rorschach ink bolt test used for the finding out the structure, okay, of the personality, whereas the thematic apperception test on the other hand used for the content of the personality of a person. So, these are the two popular type of the projective techniques which are you will find the mention in the use of the research. Okay. Now, the use of the projective technique in the social or the behavioral research, okay, is much more limited. Okay. So, it mostly used for the psychoanalysis or the psychological, some of the very limited number of the psychological research. Okay. So, what are the limitation of that? And as I told that on opposite to the highly objective or the direct stimuli, sometimes, okay, the projective techniques have the certain advantage over them also. Okay. So, what are the advantage? So, the first one is that it can be used for elicit information from the respondent where people are unwilling or they are unable to respond to the certain question. Maybe if the question is too personal in nature, so you do not want to respond, okay. Or sometimes, okay, if these facts or this particular psychological aspect are totally unknown to the people, he is unaware of this particular opinion because no one ever asked about the opinion about this particular subject. Okay. So, in that cases this particular projective techniques may be helpful. Secondly, okay, so for finding the imaginative solution to the psychological aspect or for imaginative solution to the behavioral pattern of the respondent, okay, and in a variety of way. So, again you can use this projective techniques, and that's way it is one of the most significant and imaginative creation in the psychological research. But as I told, okay, the projective technique has a number of limitation also. The first limitation is the generally the projective techniques have the very low reliability and validity, okay, and this low reliability and validity came from the first one is the lack of objectivity. So, in case of the research, the objectivity we define it in the based on the inter-observer agreement, okay. So, in case of the projective technique, this inter-observer agreement is very low, okay, or inter-observer judgmental biases or variances is very high, okay. Secondly, there is problem with the scoring, okay, like I was talking about that the 4 aspect which was used by the Ross search, okay, for scoring into the responses in the Inkbolt, okay. So, now what to use for the scoring or which particular aspect to use for the scoring, that there may be wide variation based on the researcher imagination also, okay, that also contribute towards the lower reliability or validity of this projective techniques, okay. So, again repeating, as I already told, that sometimes you will find out the use of the projective technique in the social or the behavioral research is very low, but it have the capability to provide you the more imaginative solution to the behavioral or the social research problem than the often used the direct method of the observation or the direct method of the collection of the respondent, okay. So, with this we will conclude today's lecture on the projective technique, and as always you can follow this particular textbook for further knowledge into this aspect of the projective technique. With this we will conclude today's lecture. Thank you.